Alright, it's time to work on this front engine area, and we are going to make a couple adjustments here. I've moved the front nose of this out a couple more inches to allow a little bit more engine space, and then I'm checking here the width between the tubes to make sure that we have enough room. So the engine sits with the air cleaner and everything on it about 28 inches tall, so this tube will be near the middle and be able to get mounts to it. And then we're about 32 inches long with the radiator set at an angle in front of the engine. So that should give us plenty of room for this thing to fit. Alright, we're ready to bend the engine tube. Nick's here to give me a hand. This one's a compound bend, so it means every motion we have to do, every bend, there might be rotation in this. We have to bend it one way, bend it back. So we're going to get this thing bent and then try and mock it up on there, get everything straight so we can fit the engine in. Alright, we got that tube installed and set the engine in place here, and made a decision to drill out the engine mount hole from the motorcycle to 1/2 inch so we could use some standard size hardware, and we cut some tabs on the table. So these are going to be our first two engine mounts, or tabs anyways. They'll kind of key in to the frame like that and bolt into the engine. Alright, we got the first mount done, and it's welded in here. We got a nice gusset in there, and it looks like it's going to be pretty strong. We ended up drilling the engine out to 1/2 inch to fit some standard hardware, and that should work good. So we're going to move over to the other side, and we're going to make some removable mounts on that side. That way it's easy to get this engine in and out of here in the future. Alright, one of the most handiest tools we have in here that really speeds up time and effort is this CNC plasma table. It kicks butt. I got this a few years ago, and it really sped up process. We were worried when we were going to build something during COVID time, and wasn't going to be able to get stuff when we needed it, so decided to pony up and get this table to make all our own stuff. And it's really helped out. But I'm in the process of making up a tab right now. Just finished drawing this, and I'm gonna move it over in some software and make it come out on a table. So I'll show you how that works in a second here. Possibly one of the most important benefits of working in the shop on the weekend is Chinese food. It's like a ritual with Nick. He loves this, so we got to do it every time he's around. Alright, so the second set of engine mounts on the front and the back here are 2-piece, and that way it's a lot easier to get this thing in and out. If you have to lift it out of here, you just unbolt, and then there'll be plenty of room. Alright, at this point the engine's mounted, so we are going to put in some tubing on the bottom that's going to act as a skid plate for the engine, and then we'll be able to tie that tubing up to here and strengthen everything up, and then this thing should sit without this jack stand holding it up. Alright, so we got these two tubes bent up a little bit, and they're notched here and ready to go. This is going to sit directly under the engine and protect it. We're going to be able to mount a skid plate underneath there. We're going to make a piece that connects those, and that way it comes out real nice. And I'll show you when it's on the buggy next. All right, we got the engine sitting on its own. It's not on the floor anymore. It's actually suspended. It's held by its mounts. And we added another mount. We got one on the passenger side top. We got two on the driver's side top. And we just added another mount on the passenger side bottom that used to mount into the street bike frame. So I'll show you that. It's another removable mount. It'll manage a lot of torque when that thing tries to push and pull on this thing. But I think we made some big progress today. I'm excited to see what happens next here. I'm waiting on that reverse box to come in. As soon as that gets here, we can work on mounting the transfer case and the reverse box and get these drive shafts and stuff in between the engine and the drivetrain figured out. That's going to be a big thing here. So we'll see what we can tackle next. All right, it's been a few days and we got some parts in. So we've been waiting for this reverse box so I could see what it was going to look like and how it was going to mount, and at least we could work on trying to figure out the relationship between this and the transfer case. And so it's here, and I've checked out some mounting stuff with it. So right now I am working on a mount for this transfer case. I drew this part up in the computer, and looks like I'm going to be able to match the bolt pattern that's here and weld this tab right to the chassis, get this transfer case mounted. I'm going to try and set it all up in there, and once I get it laid out I'll show you what it's going to look like. But I'm trying to get a nice straight line between this and this so I can go to the engine. Not quite sure how I'm doing the drive shaft to come from the engine yet. I feel like I need some type of a U-joint or something for misalignment. I'm worried about torque if I did it all solid with just a straight part. So I'm going to try and accommodate that, and we'll see how it goes. All right, sometimes things don't go as planned. That mount is definitely way too short for what I was trying to do, so I threw up another one and swap it out. All right, so for now, this is working pretty good. It's gonna hold this thing. I definitely have to build a mount on the other side of this thing, and it'll support it from both sides at that point. But right now, there's broken off bolts in this transfer case. It's just how it came to us. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna leave this hang here for now. I got a piece of wood under it. So for mock-up purposes, this is gonna hang out there. And I am gonna start drawing up something in the computer so that I can connect this flange out to that reverse box, and we're going to try and float that thing out there so that I can build a mount for it. So I'm going to get busy drawing on the computer, and we'll go from there. All right, we drew up that flange in the computer, and here it is on the table. Grab that out of there. Oh, dropped it. A little bit hot. We'll clean that up a little bit and see if it matches up. All right, well, I got the two flanges made, and I'm planning on using a piece of tubing to separate the two, put maybe 6 inches of it in there. I left an 1 3/4 hole in the center of it so I can use this to inset, and that'll keep it as centered as I can without doing some type of machine work. So this is going to work for now, and it'll be great for mock-up, and then we can have a part made later that'll be made with a little bit more precision. So I'm going to get this thing cut and jigged up, tack it together, and then we'll be rolling. We should be able to get some bolts in the reverse box, bolt that to the transfer case, and then build mounts for wherever it needs to sit. All right, tinkering around in the shop here. It's Thursday evening, and I had a little bit of time. Wanted to jump on these seat brackets. When I left off on this project the other day, I was trying to make a part that went between the transfer case and the reverse box, but with everything I was doing, I just couldn't get the part perfectly straight, and I was going to use that to line up where the mounting was going for the reverse box. So I decided ultimately to hold off on it. I have a part getting machined. The owner of this buggy has some machining capabilities, so he's working on that. I gave him my mocked up part, and he's gonna make one that's perfectly straight and true, and then we'll have way better luck with that. So I wanted to jump on the rest of the cockpit tubing area and work on the B-pillar, but as much as I wanted to do that, I decided to hold off until I got the seats situated, because I normally just put fixed seat mounting in all my buggies, mostly for safety stuff. I'm scared to put sliders in because I've seen bad things happen, and it's a safety concern. So I was racking my brain for the last few nights, and I finally came up with an idea where I'm just putting 2 big rails in with a whole bunch of adjustment holes so that this thing can move forward and backwards. Because if you're an adult trying to drive this thing around, you don't want to be all cramped up like you had, you know, short little legs for a kid. And, you know, same thing goes for the kid. You can't reach the pedals. So I needed something where I could really move this thing a lot. So I designed some parts in CNC, and I got some rails. I'll show you here. These things are just loose in here right now. I just tacked the ends of them, but this is the perfect width for the seats that are going to go in here. I'm going to make some little attachment brackets that are going to attach to 2 holes out of the thing and come up with one to go right through the back of the seat, and should work good. That way the seat could be all back here or way up there. Just infinite adjustability here. This will all get braced and everything, but for now, that's where we're at. The driver's seat will have a lot more adjustment than the passenger, because there's just a lot of controls that you either can reach or you're going to be too cramped to reach. So that's where we're at with that. The passenger seat will have some adjustability, but not quite as much, because the transfer case is going to kind of block the seat from coming all the way forward, being that we're in such a tight area, small chassis for, you know, it's a kid's buggy, so it's just going to be small. So I'm going to try and get those tabs designed tonight, and that way I can work on it a little bit tomorrow. I should have a little bit of time to mess around, but as soon as I can get the seat sitting in here and get a measurement of where it's at, I'll be able to put the B-pillar in. I just don't want to go bend and tube until I know exactly how high everything's going to sit, because I'm probably going to have real tight tolerance in there. I don't want a bunch of extra room on the top of this thing. So I'm just gonna try and make it fit just right. That way, I mean, it's really designed for the kids to play, but if you have an adult in here, I just don't want their head sticking out the top. So that's where we're at with this thing. I'm gonna call it quits for now, and
tomorrow.
All right, we made some big progress. Got these seat brackets all in. Lots of adjustability here. You can move this thing forwards and backwards with any of these holes. You can see how the tabs are set up. So I've got different size tabs that we can cut out with the plasma table. I can make an assortment of them. So not only can you move this seat forwards and backwards, but you can also tip it to get the comfort you like out of the thing. Obviously, it's going to be a non-cushioned seat. I mean, you could probably stick a little padding in there or something, but you know, just to get the angle so that it's comfortable for you to ride all day in this thing. When it's in kid mode, the seat will be a little bit narrower, and so we'll just make some spacers that go between the tabs to fill the gap, and then it'll get bolted in just like it is. On the passenger side, because they don't have to reach any controls, there's a little bit less adjustability because it ends right in front of the transfer case here, and so, or behind the transfer case, I'm sorry. It's going to have probably similar adjustability for an adult sized person. You have plenty of leg room up there. It's just not going to be able to come all the way forward like it would be if it was in kid mode. But that all worked out great. We did spend some time. We got the B-pillar in here. It's going up and over. Got plenty of room over top of the seat. When I'm sitting in there, I'm about 5'10", and I've got about 6 inches of clearance between my head and the roll bar. So lots of room there. Should be able to fit a good size adult, maybe someone taller than me. 6 foot should be no problem in there, I think. But I think we're gonna end this off here. I'll have some more tubing coming soon. We're gonna throw some more on here. I gotta verify some measurements in a computer, and as soon as I do that, I'll be able to finish out this cockpit area. So stay tuned, keep watching. I'm gonna throw out some more videos. Hopefully I'm gonna pump these out once a week until it's done. So have a good one.